Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to take a minute and thank you all so very much for the support that you continue to give Reps, because we really need to keep this part of our heritage alive, this marvelous golden age of radio that is so marvelous and so unique of its own kind of entertainment. And the fact that all of you care enough to want to come and support this is wonderful. And I especially want to just say that how really impressed all of us are with the caliber of talent that you have here in Seattle. I mean, everybody is just wonderful. So Carolyn and I really have enjoyed being here. And I want to share a quick story with you. Do we have a time problem, Paul, with somebody having to leave?
Do
okay.
it.
I had the pleasure of working on Lucille Ball's very last television series. And Lucille Ball was Jack Benny's next-door neighbor for 30 years. And the first day of when you do a situation comedy, the first morning you get together, you sit at a table and do a read-through. It was in a soundstage. It was freezing cold. Lucy had her coat up to here, her hair in curlers. And her voice was deep to begin with, but first thing in the morning it was like basso profundo. It was down there, right? And so she wasn't even looking up. She was looking at her script, and I played a guy named Herb, who was the next door neighbor. She and Gail Gordon lived in a big 3-story Victorian home with their grandchildren. And they had a yard sale. It was raining out. They brought it into the house. The neighbors were there to buy stuff. So I had a scene with her where I was arguing over something as her next door neighbor. So when it came time for her and I to do our scene together, she didn't even look up. We were reading it, and she stopped me way half through, and she said, when you get to that line, when we get up on our feet and start rehearsing this and do the show, she said, your line is going to get a big laugh. She said, up till now we'll be on a 2-shot, but your line's going to get the laugh, so you need to take just a moment before you say the line so we can clear and have you on a close-up to make sure the line gets the laugh. She gave me this elaborate direction, and of course the director is sitting there saying, what the hell am I doing here, right? Yeah. But she was so skilled at what she did, and she was absolutely right. But after this long, involved direction, I couldn't resist. In my best Jack Benny voice, I said, well, if you wanted that kind of an actor, you should have hired Al Pacino. And she started to laugh. So for the next 2 hours, we just sat around, just her and Gary and I talking about Jack Benny stories. And she said that Jack, a little sidelight to him, Mary was always playing mahjong or shopping or doing something. And somewhere around between 5 and 6, Jack Benny, the family usually ate around 6 or 6:30. Jack, on an occasion, would like to have a cocktail before dinner, but he hated to drink alone. So he'd often call Lucy next door, and he'd say, Lucy, I'm coming over for a drink. And he'd come over, and they'd chat for about a half an hour, and he'd go home for dinner. So one day, he called around 5:30. Gary answered the phone. He said, Gary, it's Jack. I'm coming over for a drink. And Gary said, Jack, we'd love to have you. But he said, Lucy has relatives in from New York, and we're going to have an early dinner because we're going to the Amundsen Theater to see Phantom of the Opera. Jack said, well, go ahead. I'll catch you later. Wait a minute. I've got a great idea. You go ahead and have dinner, and I'll come over in a few minutes and serenade you with the violin while you're eating. But don't tell Lucy, you say. So Lucy said, who was it? Who was it, Gary? He said, oh, I don't know, some crank call. So they're sitting and having dinner. Her relatives are already in awe that they're having dinner with Lucy. The back door opens. Jack walks in dressed like a gypsy. He's taken Mary's eyebrow pencil, painted a mustache, a little goatee, little things on the side, put a little cap on, opened his shirt down to here with all kinds of chains and a little thing around it. He comes in and he bows, and he starts to play this little gypsy melody around the table. Well, the people are freaking out. They're looking at Lucy. Is that Jack Benny? And she says, it happens all the time. She says, yeah, pass the salt. Like she could care less, So Jack plays the entire table and comes up to where Gary is sitting there, and he finishes with a flourish, and then he waits. And Gary totally ignores him for like minutes, and he finally looks up and he says, oh, God, that's right. And he gives Jack $1. So Jack says, thank you, same time tomorrow. He said, yeah. Now the punch to this whole story is, Jack gets home. When he left the house, he closed it behind him. He didn't lock the door. Well, while he was at Lucy's, Mary came home, did something, left, and locked the door behind her. and he can't get in. And he's banging up, for God's sake, will somebody let me in the house? Just then, the tour bus that goes through Beverly Hills every night at the same time is slowly rolling down the street. It's a warm summer day. The windows are open. And the driver with his microphone saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, we've just passed the home of Miss Lucille Ball. And now we're passing the home of Mr. Jack Benny." Wait a minute, I think that's Mr. Benny now. And he stops the bus. So Benny's standing there dressed in like this with his violin. The people are gawking at him. He has nowhere to go. So he goes over to the bus, plays a little ditty, and takes his hat off and picks up about $16 and goes in the backyard and screams for an hour. Anyway, thank you, folks.